On Saturday, I stopped in at Gross McCleaf Gallery and saw some wonderfully intriguing paintings by a youthful-looking artist with the appropriate name of Nasir Young. I'm going to assume, and maybe I'm wrong, this is your first one-person show, and it's really terrific. Congratulations.
Thank you. This is my first solo show. A great experience with all the turnout and seeing that, because I've been avidly working since leaving PAFA, but this feels like a culmination and a focusing of what I've already been looking for within my work.
Tell me a little bit about yourself. Where did you grow up?
Largely grew up the Philadelphia area. My family is from Philly, so born and raised, but I grew up a little bit outside of the city in Willow Grove. Kind of was always in and out of the city with family because my family is dispersed between North and South Philly.
How did you find your way to the Pennsylvania Academy of the Fine Arts?
I had an interesting path, but I went to Tyler School of Art, then Montgomery County Community College, and then finally ended up at the Pennsylvania Academy of Fine Arts, where I ended up graduating in December of 2020.
Nasir, just tell me about your art. It's a wonderful show. And I understand that not all the scenes are from Philadelphia.
My art is looking for a lot of the comparisons and the visual language of the landscape, whether London last year, Canada, LA, down south, that shared visual language. They're not necessarily Philly, and how those all are so readily readable that you can interchange and look at the world and have a shared entry point into the work, that we all have different connections to these places. Like a Chinese food store, it doesn't have to be that same one you've stepped into, but you know the smells, you know the interaction, you know that experience. So I'm looking at that mundane life that we all have and those connections of everyday life and the beauty in those and the intricacies of those details that we gloss over, but we should give the same majesty we give looking at a mountain in nature. Even though it is every day and we're used to it, it should be held in that same light and pedestal that we look at a forest, because it's important, it's part of our life. My degree from PAFA is illustration. My practice drastically changed. My painting is a byproduct of the pandemic. Being in lockdown is when I started oil painting and pushing that forward.
This one seems different. The imagery is layered.
That came from my thinkings about illustration and narrative storytelling, putting little windows and paintings in how to tell a story within a story. And that one in particular came from also my sketchbooks as a larger part of my practice as they are. I collage and look through as how they build up and images sit on top of images or next to them. Those two images were next to each other. And what if they were part of the same? You look at both of those activities as graffiti and dirt bikes in a mischievous light, but they also have variously elements of community and importance to people that you don't get to see in those judgments of how that bleeds together and then forming a narrative. And then the night and day aspects of like, what imaginative storytelling qualities can you make up versus these two images that from the beginning don't necessarily have anything to do with each other, but you can start to form and make up a narrative similar to how you look at my landscapes, of how you can think of like, what's the story behind this? And you start weaving and building out.
You paint a lot of products or advertising or signage for products.
So a lot of how that's designed is meant to be all very fun, colorful. Look at the top of a corner store, it's almost circus tent-like. It's meant to sell you on things. Even cigarettes, Marlboros is a bright red for a reason. That's candy apple red. It's meant to draw you in for good and bad. And they're selling you something. So someone's agenda, they want you to have this. So it brings that conversation into it.
Are you glad you made the switch from illustration to painting?
I am 100% glad I did, mostly because I've also learned about my own temperament within that. Illustration is very much more of commercial and business, and there's a lot of other voices within what you do. There's a level of back and forth and changing because you're making someone else's vision a reality. Versus with painting, I'm chasing my own satisfaction of images I enjoy, and it's a great thing other people enjoy them as well. But I'm ultimately looking to make what's the most exciting thing to me, because I'll abandon something if it's not the most exciting thing. So that shift has become really important to me of I can focus on what I want to do.
Nasir, I am a fellow PAFA grad, 1980. I am so proud when great young artists pop out of the academy and continue the tradition. Congratulations.
Thank you so much. It's fun being part of that storied history and being another chapter of, especially being someone from Philadelphia and my family is so that storied connection to that. It's a legacy, and being a painter. I've had a lot of family that I found out after becoming an artist, like uncles that would draw and do things but never pursued anything. So it feels like giving them a side to show what can happen with that.
So you're the artist that is carrying the burden of the artistic vision of the entire family.
Yeah, I would say yes. I'm showing them what's possible with the arts, because family that draw, but not seeing that world, because you don't necessarily always get to see like that's a reality of what you can make a profession and do and livelihood. So showing them that that's also a reality.
How long have you had blonde hair, and what do your parents think?
The blonde hair is going on 2 years now. It was an interesting take at first, but they enjoy it now looking at it. I was never a person to bleach my hair or do anything with it, so it was an interesting change of just showing personality, and I enjoy it. It's been fun. I had actually recently re-bleached it for the first time in a while.
Ah, youth. I'd re-bleach mine as well if I had enough to make it worthwhile. Anyway, don't miss Nasir Young's show at Gross McCleaf through March 2nd, 2024.